All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Good morning. If you are watching on the East Coast, happy Tuesday. Get your coffee, tea, whatever you like to drink, and let's get this little morning briefing started. What's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. We have a lot of bullish news that we want to cover. We're going to analyze some of the market movements. We're going to see if we have some good pre-market open movements for Bitcoin or Ethereum and see how the altcoins are doing. We obviously have some bullish news with XRP, with them releasing the stablecoin. And we also just have, in general, the stablecoin markets are heating up. There's a lot of liquidity coming in. The stablecoin market, if you guys are starting to realize that this is where a lot of the liquidity is going to start coming in first, and then it's going to be basically a decision between where are we going to put the liquidity, which chain are we going to use, and so is it going to be XRP? Is it going to be Athena? Is it going to be primarily USDT? Are we going to, be using more USDC? Is there going to be more regulatory clarity for using these stable coins with traditional finance systems or with banks being able to custodian these crypto services and these coins? So all of this is developing literally as we speak, as we go into the new administration of the Trump administration, with a lot of the people that they've picked are pretty much mainly pro crypto. And so we're trying to go off of this Operation Choke Point that we've had basic for the past 4 years, and maybe even longer than that, where we've stifled crypto innovation. So here's Senator Loomis explaining how the banking system was built by us and it should be operating for us, not against us. So let's see what she had to say, and let's play this clip really quick. Just a short clip of her on Fox Business. And before we get the show on the road fully, let's make sure we hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell to be notified, and we will make sure we are giving you guys the best crypto updates and news in the space. Just make sure you guys are doing the housekeeping, which is hitting the like button. It's the YouTube's currency. So, and it also helps just build this channel up, build the community up, and get some more Dojo Crew members a part of the channel. All right, so let's play this clip real quick. Let me know also, too, if the sound is good. You guys are always perfect, and you guys are the best community to let me know if the sound is good or if anything is messed up. You guys are quick on the draw. So let me show you real quick. Let's make sure we can play this.
What's going on here, and can it be changed?
Well, just as there has been lawfare at the Justice Department, Operation Choke Point 2.0 has been so much bigger than many of us knew. So I was so glad that Mark Andreessen got on Joe Rogan's program and blew it up. And then you had all kinds of people who've been debanked get on X and explain what debanking has done to their businesses. It could be a gun manufacturer, it could be a marijuana business, it could be an oil and gas producer, and it's definitely been crypto assets. They have illegally, and I mean this government, our government has illegally gone after an industry and tried to snuff it out through the regulatory state, through the bureaucracy. And this is something that I'm so pleased President Trump is going to stop. Just as Kash Patel will go into the FBI and do away with warfare, President Trump is putting people in place at the FDIC and Treasury and elsewhere in his government who can make sure this industry can flourish in the United States with transparency and consumer protection.
Yeah. What's going
Hold on. Okay, I'm back. All right, yeah. I don't know if you guys dig Senator Lumen's smile, but it's just like she knows something. She's like, we're ready to take over. We're ready to take the power back and put it in the hands of the people. And the only way that the power can actually go back into the hands of the people is if we have good people in power that are actually going to work for us. And we've noticed over the past 4 years that we haven't had people in our government that are working for us. They're just working for their constituents. That's it. And they're working for themselves. And they're working for the countries that have been back dealing like Just don't have to mention them, but we just know where the money's being sent out. It's being sent out to these wars, the proxy wars. A lot of the government, our tax dollars have been spent on doing these DIE, school programs where they're basically, spending billions of dollars on all of these different woke programs that actually serve no purpose but to basically not hurt people's feelings who have mental illnesses or mental issues, basically. And so it's getting pretty out of hand. So really, we're coming into a revolution, a financial revolution in the United States, where finally some people are waking up, and the current the current administration going out of power. They're still holding on for dear life. I think they're still trying to, whilst they're going out, basically, make sure that they get a little bit more pieces of the pie before they end, in their reign. But hopefully it's a good transition of power, and they're not going to try and pull any kind of malarkey, any kind of craziness. But as we're seeing now in the developments of some of these drones, I know you guys have been following the story of all the drones that were over New Jersey. They got drones in Texas. There's all these unidentified UAV drones that are basically all over the United States right now, and no one can give a straight answer as to whose they are, where they're coming from, what the motive of these drones are, and it's kind of crazy. So that basically the world, leave the world behind. If you had seen the Obama funded movie, where all of these things have happened so far in little spurts. It's almost like they're telling us in real time what the deep state in the system is trying to do to basically spread FUD, fear, and manipulate us into thinking that we're going to go into some type of war with another country, or that they're going to do some type of false flag attack and put us into martial law, freak us the hell out, and then make it to where the power transition from this administration to the Trump administration is going to have a nice hard roadblock. And so I'm praying that is not the case. But if you guys have been paying attention, it just seems like the system is trying to throw stuff at the wall now, and they know that they're losing power. They know that with the help of Elon Musk and people like Vivek Ramaswamy, people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we got Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, we got people fighting on our side and for the people, to make sure that that the things that we've been talking about and the things that we actually want to happen will happen. It's all cool when you're talking about everything for months and months and years of what you're going to do, but let's actually implement it. Let's see if we can do it. And with Elon, I mean, we've seen Elon's track record and what he's been able to do with Twitter, what he's been able to do with Tesla, what he's been able to do with these companies that he is running at the helm. I think that we are going to be coming into the biggest financial revolution that America has ever seen. So I'm really excited, guys. I hope you are, along for the ride, and you are at least paying attention. You do have some exposure into crypto, and you are hopefully going towards the direction of, thinking about opening up a business. This is the time to start thinking about opening up crypto businesses, accessing the liquidity that, these companies are trying to access. All these traditional finance systems are wanting to access this crypto liquidity. They're running towards it. They know that this is where the money is going. And so it's all good. It's all good. It's all bullish, but the main thing is that we just have to have some patience, because we're so impatient. We had a pretty long bear market. We did get chopped up pretty hard last cycle, and a lot of people have post-traumatic stress. I mean, I know that most people that were getting into crypto in 2021 or 2022, if they didn't get out alive, they have some serious issues now to deal with in terms of like your mind, because I mean, we've gotten jerked around from one thing to the next, or distracted by one thing, rug pull here, Luna crash here, FTX crash there, just all kinds of stuff that it's okay. You don't have to feel bad and think that, you're just you are not alone. Okay. So I just want to stress that. I want to stress to anyone new, anyone that is just coming to this space, it is okay. Like this is no one ever said it was going to be easy coming into a new emerging technology, a new money market. No one ever said it was just going to be put in money, get money out, call it a day, and just be like, it's tough. No one ever said it was going to be easy to hold. And especially this guy, talking to Da Vinci, seeing, what he's had to also endure of the 13 years of him being in Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin, telling people, look, you got to pay attention to this. He was studying Bitcoin or studying gold more and silver and started to see how, wow, Bitcoin is actually really going to be where the money goes and where the financial systems are going to eventually pivot and go into Bitcoin. And so he's honestly been the guy that, should have been listening to this whole time. But like I said, it's not easy. It's sometimes you have to go through these motions and go through these different points of your life and different seasons of your life, and you end up understanding money a little bit better. You start understanding how liquidity works. You start understanding that the dollar and how the government has been printing money does debase it and devalue it over time. So how you think about, let me build up my savings account. You remember when you were like a teenager, your parents or whoever was trying to teach you about whatever finances, they go, save, just really build up your savings account. And no one ever told you, start thinking about investing and start building up a portfolio. I mean, imagine if someone actually were to tell you when you were a teenager, at the pivotal point of when you start to need to learn about money, they teach you about investing. They teach you about, percentages and how to use debt in a good way to leverage instead of using it for a modality to trap you and chain you. And so it's so important that right now, if you're not thinking about how to reprogram your brain on how to look at money and look at finances, studying Bitcoin, why so much money is going into Bitcoin right now, this is the time to be doing it. This is the time to be doing it for sure. So yeah, definitely, keep track of Da Vinci. Listen to Da Vinci, where he said, "I told you so." He's going to keep saying, "I told you so," for the next couple of years. And especially with Michael Saylor, Michael Saylor, regardless of price, has been buying across this chart everywhere. He's just perpetually buying the top. And so if that's your signal, this is a great signal, and it's a great thing to squash the FUD for yourself for long-term success. Us in crypto, the degenerates, the people that are trading meme coins, the people that are chasing the next 100x, a lot of these people don't own Bitcoin. They actually don't even own a Satoshi. They are gambling, and obviously it's because people lost so much money that they're like, I need more of a return. And I understand that because I felt the same way where I'm like, look, if I keep buying Bitcoin, okay, what do I got? Point woes whatever Bitcoin, or I'll get close, but then okay, but if I buy this thing, I'll be able to get more money and blah, 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 blah. But ultimately you start to readjust and you start to think, okay, is these things that I'm buying and I'm trying to get more of a return on, could it just be a means to get more Bitcoin? And if that's the case, then this is how you have to think about the long-term hodlability of Bitcoin and why it could be a base of your portfolio. And then you do have a percentage, say, 40%, 30%, 10% of going into these other things like the altcoins. You have all these different narratives of altcoins that you can get into. I mean, there's tons. I mean, so many different things right now to look forward to in terms of altcoins. Like right now, one of them that's being hyped up, pun intended, Hyperliquid. This one in the past week has been doing really well. Also, Virtual. XRP is doing well, obviously, because of the stablecoin news. Chainlink is doing really well because they are actually helping these traditional finance systems and the banking systems implement real-world asset tokenization. And So this is all good. Yeah, Jay Flores says altcoins are good. Yes, no, we love altcoins. Like I'm so happy that there's altcoins. It's great. Like it really is a amazing technology, and there's so many things that you can do with these with these chains. Like for instance, Chainlink, they are partnered up with so many people to help the APIs and the throughput, the different programming technology, the code that is helping link real world assets and also on-chain and off-chain data through the modalities of Chainlink. And so if you're wondering what's the use case of Chainlink, well, Chainlink is basically helping bridge the gap. So if you just think about, okay, like Ethereum is helping bridge the gap of applications and being able to have smart contract settlement through the EVM. And so, yeah, Jay Flores says, fiat is bad. Altcoin, good. Yeah, smash up the like, guys, if you agree as well that fiat bad, altcoin good, crypto good. And oh, by the way, guys, I don't know if you saw that MetaMask now has a debit card. So they've been rolling out this thing early, testing the debit card for MetaMask. And so I early registered for it because I was like, hey, that's actually honestly pretty cool. Because if you think about it, if you could have different ways that you can access your crypto without having to send it all over the place or basically just spend it right on your card directly from your wallet. And I think what it's using primarily is the Linea chain. And so you think, okay, the Linea chain, layer 2 for Ethereum, transactions obviously cheaper, and you'll be able to, I'm not exactly sure how many cryptos or what cryptos you'll be able to like use and spend on the card, but that's what we're testing it for. So we signed up for it. We freaking gave them our social security number and all that stuff because guys, this is the nature of it. If you want to use some of these things and these cards and these, like, even just like say you want to use a BYBIT card or a crypto.com card or a Coinbase card, like you're going to have to give them your information. It's just, it is what it is. But I think that it's moving us into a good direction of being able to have more options, have more of a way that businesses can accept crypto and say, hey, like you got a bunch of freaking Pepe on your wallet, and now the stores are accepting Pepe because it's been now one of the most popular meme coins. And so now you have to think like, wow, like now my actual value of my Pepe is going value of my Pepe is going up because of how much I can't. Yeah, sorry. It's too easy with the Pepe jokes. Value of my Pepe. But you get the point I'm trying to make here. It's just like how ultimately, you get into Dogecoin, and there is, Dogecoin is actually one of the best chains for a peer-to-peer transfer of a service. One Doge is one Doge, one Doge is one Doge. And I think that some of these coins are going to have that kind of same effect where it's like, it is going to be that type of coin where you can say, yeah, we accept Doge here, we accept Pepe, we accept, you name it, like whatever's going to be the most popular thing. And I think X payments might actually help with that too. X payments might actually help with facilitating, okay, here's the main list of what the community is wanting to be able to send between people through the X app. And that's just one example. Here's the X app. It's going to kind of almost look similar to like how Venmo is. Like, okay, like Venmo, you can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and what's the other ones? There's a few. There's only like a small list of like 4 coins that say Venmo and PayPal you can hold on there. So I'm just thinking, kind of comparing. X payments will most likely have Doge as a selection. Then they'll have Bitcoin. They'll have the different layer networks that you can choose from to be able to send. But I'm curious as to how they're really going to set it up, because will it actually have almost like a crypto wallet type functionality, but with an X style? Who knows? But it's coming down the line. It's coming down the pipe. I don't want you guys to forget about it, because it is something that is going to actually facilitate more sentiment and bullishness into the crypto space through X payments. And so let's just not forget about it. All right. So, and also let's not forget that we do have the FOMC meeting is tomorrow, and the Feds have historically now been on a quantitative easing, basically, with lowering the interest rates. They had the interest rates as like super high, not the highest they've ever been, but at least in terms of where our money is right now, it was really high. And it basically made everything massively expensive to either borrow money. It kind of screwed up the market in terms of like, people being able to afford stuff, because not even just like the interest rates being high, but the prices of everything went up double, triple. So if your expenses were like, $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month, guess what? It went up like $1,000, $2,000 more for your expenses. And then not to mention, it was harder for people to borrow money. And then it's just a recipe for disaster. So the Feds knew this, and they said, look, we got to lower the rates and then try and match it with whatever their supply that they're trying to put into the market, printing money and putting more into the supply. They are going to be lowering the interest rate and making it a little bit cheaper for these banks to borrow the money, because that's essentially how our system is ran by the Federal Reserve of the monetary policy, is that we have these banks that are going to lend money out at a percentage rate. And if it's and then they need to be able to make money, they have to be able to pay back the federal government, or the Federal Reserve government, or they're not even the government, just Federal Reserve. They're not part of the government. They're a completely separate entity that is loaning the U.S. government money. And then that's why we're in so much debt, because that's how the scheme works. And so people like Michael Saylor, they realize that, wow, this scheme is made up for you to fail. And it's created solely for you to be upon and siphoned in this system. And that's how they're able to keep doing what they're doing. And so Michael Saylor thought, well, I'm going to use that to my advantage, actually, and use the debt. Know that if I am leveraged and buying Bitcoin, and knowing that historically with the Bitcoin 4-year cycle and halving cycle, it is going to be an asset that goes up infinitely over time. But because the nature of the supply, what the network is, how it operates, and what it will be as a reserve currency, and its potential to be a reserve currency. We have all of these, nation states. We have, Japanese lawmakers pushing for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We have Russia pushing for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We've already had Argentina and El Salvador paving the way and showing us, like, look, this is how you can do it. And it's looking like it's all going to be kind of coming down the pipe here pretty soon. So it's looking good, guys. But all right, so we're just going through the news, giving you the analysis. But right now, let's actually look at the CME futures chart, because the CME futures chart is showing us that we could be breaking another new all-time high. We basically have been ranging at this level of 106, 107. This is on the 45-minute. You can kind of see that Bitcoin is really holding strong over 100K, which is amazing. So the fact that we've been able to hold super strong over 100K is a good signification that we are going to keep ticking up. We're doing the stepping stones. Like I call it the staircase. We go up a little bit, we cool off, we cool off, we establish another new all-time high, we cool off a little bit, and then we basically are going to, I think, establish a new all-time high here just by the candle measures alone. And the target here for the short term, I think in the next couple days, is for Bitcoin to get to 111, 112,000. And we actually have this marked on the Bitstamp chart because of the inverse head and shoulders target of what happened the last inverse head and shoulders. We had an inverse head and shoulders right here, and basically the target breakout after the shoulder right here was extended. We had a shoulder extension probably from here to here, took about 6 days. It was about 6 days for that to play out. So if you think right here, from the shoulder extension, you go out about 6 days, and then that's when we're going to start to see, I think, the pop up to this level. So all I'm doing is measuring from the bottom of the shoulder, and measuring just from there and seeing what percentage move it was able to make prior, and which was a 9 to 10% move. So I'm going from the, kind of almost from the bottom extension here, and then it brings us up to a level of 112,000, 113,000, and we're already about halfway there. You can see we actually, broke this resistance right here, which was the previous resistance right here at 103. We're basically creating all of these different new resistance points and support through this range. And so now it's like it's anyone's game. I mean, Bitcoin can now decide to go all the way back down to these support levels right here at 98,000 or 100K. But at this point, I just don't see it. And I know a lot of times when people say, "Oh, if you say that, then that's of course when it's going to go down, because if you're saying it'll never go past below 100K again." And people were saying that, weeks ago, where we were like, look, it ain't going under 100K. And then bam, we got smacked with the Darth Maul candle. And it kind of wrecked a lot of people. We got smacked down to 92, and everyone was saying, look, never under 100K again. And it went to 92 in a span of a day. If we look at the daily candle where that happened, it was a nasty Darth Maul candle here, where you can see right there in the single day, 103,000, and then on the same day, 92,000. I mean, people got smacked real hard. So if you were able to survive that and you didn't get liquidated, well, you're a giga Chad from all gigas that have ever gigged before. That was a tough one. That was a rough one. But if you were smart, you thought that, no, that's not the end. That was just a shakeout, and you were able to get back into some trades. You're able to buy the dip. That's what those moments are for. It's to battle test you. It's to say, okay, are you able to buy the dip when things are tough and when things are blood red in the streets and everyone's saying it's over? Because those are the people that end up being successful. Those are the people that end up with the risk to reward ratio ending up where you have Bitcoin and it's coming to 150K. And so we're hoping we get with that momentum. But yeah, it's looking good, guys. It's looking good. The thing that I've been noticing as a theme that I want to keep my attention on is that chains like Solana, chains like Cardano, Tron, name a few others, that they are going to be accessing Bitcoin with DeFi. And so I would just, as some alpha for you guys, start to research which chains and which coins and protocols are trying to get access to Bitcoin liquidity and having it on chain, whether it be on Solana or Cardano or Sui, whatever it may be, because that is where that's where the money's going. That is where people are trying to get that access to liquidity. You have to think about it as like Bitcoin as money, and it's a reserve currency. And so say that, just like people are trying to get wealth funds and treasuries and things like that, and trying to get access to like cash that's sitting in certain areas to then get it into said thing, it's the same thing with these protocols are trying to get access to the liquidity that Bitcoin has, which Bitcoin has the highest liquidity out of anything because it's the top dog. And so if you're able to then get the liquidity from Bitcoin and then put it on chain through the modality of where it be omni-chain, indexing, whatever it is, then this is where I think a lot of the money is going to be going. And you could capitalize on this by just finding the protocol, finding the token that is trying to do this, and then say, okay, this might be where the bet is. So for me, I'm starting to think about things like Zeus. We've mentioned Zeus before. Zeus is a protocol on Solana that is trying to access and bridge the gap between the Bitcoin. It's just basically just think Bitcoin DeFi. And so just to break it down as simplest as I can, it's just basically being able to have the access of liquidity of Bitcoin on chain. And think of wrapped Bitcoin. Think of wrapped Bitcoin, but then on different, different layers. And I think that's going to be the biggest narrative in terms of like stable coins. We got the real world assets. We have memes. We have all these things, AI. But I think Bitcoin DeFi is going to be freaking huge. It's going to be huge. And so not only just holding Bitcoin, but then being able to use your Bitcoin and then implement it into all these different things to just make it work for you. That's what I want to start getting into, because that's how you get people to start buying Bitcoin, because it's not as boring anymore. People don't buy Bitcoin because it's not sexy enough for them. It isn't. And that's why people buy the memes. That's why people buy Doge. That's why they buy SHIB or Brett or whatever it may be that's tickling your fancy. It's just not, Bitcoin just isn't as attractive. But until people start to understand that, Bitcoin can be, you can just use it and leverage it for all kinds of different things, Bitcoin might start to become a little bit more sexy for you. Becomes a little bit more useful. So for me, that's why I started to actually be like, okay, I need to start to actually take Bitcoin more seriously, have it as almost my biggest holding, and then have all of the other different things as a means to be able to still just get more Bitcoin. Because ultimately, it's hard to tell, but I mean, there's thousands and thousands of cryptos that are created every day. I mean, you go to Morales Money and check on what has been created. I mean, there's total tokens. There's 2,850,781 tokens. New coins that have just been created in the past 24 hours, 48,000. Most of these are going to disappear and they're going to go to zero. But there's going to be a basket, a little handful of them that are going to survive, and that this is our job. Which ones are we going to hold long term? Which ones are we going to be able to take profits on and readjust and go into something and have our portfolios stand the test of time through the bear markets, through the bull markets, which we know exist. We've looked at the previous data. There are bear markets. There are cycles where it's better to hold altcoins or better to hold Bitcoin at a certain point. But the further we get down the line of this technology, the market is so small compared to what the money on the sidelines sitting at is going to be coming in here, if that makes sense. We're still under $4 trillion total market cap for everything. And so Bitcoin being at 7 trillion, ETH being at 2 trill, the rest of the altcoin market under it, with even just the memes being at $1 trillion, $1 to $2 trillion asset class. We're still so early. So we got to think like 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, what is going to still be in the top 10? Because I would love to make a video and actually go and get screenshots of historical data of CoinMarketCap of what was in the top 10 from 4-year point cycles since 2013. Or at least since CoinMarketCap has been a website. I think that would be a lot of fun to do and a cool experiment for us to see, like, hey, I mean, what actually stayed in the top 10 longer than everything? Obviously, Bitcoin, Ethereum, but like I would love to see like what coins ended up in the top 10 and now are just gone, or what ended up in the top 10 and is now maybe in the top 50 but is still around. And it'd be a cool experiment, and honestly be eye-opening to see, okay, like this is just the nature of the market. But now that we have institutions in, we got better regulatory clarity, less choke point, more bullish sentiment in the market, then I think the landscape now is a little bit more positive, and you can kind of bet that crypto is going to be one of the biggest things and the biggest money market to hit the world in the past 15 years. And so it's going to be the place that you want to be. But all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this little, morning briefing. I hope you guys enjoyed. We were trying to break down just a little bit of what's happening right now. We'll give you just the other stuff right here real quick. Bitcoin is, hit new all-time high, breaking over 107,000. We had Simon's Cat, the cat token, and the Pudgy Penguins, Pengu being listed on Binance. Excuse me. The Pudgy Penguins is an NFT project. Pengu is the token. A lot of the times, if the token doesn't do well, the NFT won't do well, and vice versa. But the Pudgy Penguins, they've been one of the strongest NFT communities because they're one of the ones that actually was able to solidify a legitimate partnership with Walmart and having Pudgy Penguins like in Walmart. So that's huge. No other project has been able to really do that kind of work. So can the token do well? Most likely. Is it going to probably dump a little bit when it gets on Binance? Most likely. And then Simon's Cat, the thing with this is that it's an art project, and it's linked with this. You have to just go research it. Yeah. But both of these things, art-based. Then we got MicroStrategy acquiring more Bitcoin, FTX repayments beginning January 25th, in stables, not in crypto. Then we have Avalanche upgrading, and then that's pretty much it, guys. But we're gonna give you more stuff at 11:30. Make sure you guys come back to the live stream, and make sure you're also hitting the like button. We got 30 people in here that are watching. If everyone could just smash up the like, that would be amazing. And we'll see you at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Come back, bring a friend, and we will have some fun. All right.